Hello everyone. I'm really sorry I can't be with you in person for obvious reasons, but I just wanted to record a short message for you just to welcome you to this information event for our work-based distance learning programs. It's so pleased that you're interested in studying with us at a distance. The university and indeed the business school have got a huge amount of interest, of expertise now in this type of learning. It's something that we've been doing for several years, not just since the recent lockdown. And you can be assured that if you choose to study with us, you're working and studying at a university which now has a fantastic reputation for student experience, most recently witnessed by the fact that we've just been voted Young University of the Year for 2021. So I do hope you enjoy the event. I do hope you find the program that you're looking for, and I hope also that I'll be able to meet you face to face at some point. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to our virtual information event. Thank you to all of those who can join us. So my name's Amy Mumby. I'm the academic lead for work-based distance learning. We've been doing this, as Craig said, quite a long time now. We are in our 20th anniversary year, and we're really looking forward to hearing your questions so that we can help you explore work-based distance learning at Lincoln as a potential option for you. I'd like to pass over to my colleague, Dr. Altersky, to introduce himself also.
Hi there, nice to meet you all. I'm Alex Altersky, and I'm the entrepreneurship lead for the team. I have my PhD in business systems management, and I look forward to meeting you all to discuss entrepreneurship and innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Next, I'd like to introduce our alumni, Paul Routledge.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Paul Routledge. I completed a work-based distance learning engineering management degree in 2020, and I'm exported. I'm currently working for a defence contractor, and I'd like to welcome you all this evening, and hopefully I can answer some questions from a student perspective.
Wonderful, thank you, Paul. It's lovely to have you with us. And next, Tim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, my name's Tim Collett. I'm a lecturer here at Work-Based Distance Learning. I'm in my eighth year of doing this, and I've come across lots and lots of very interesting people such as yourselves. Hopefully you will find something you would like to study. My sort of bent is leadership and management, and so if you come along for that, you may get me. That would be good for me, not for you maybe, I don't know. But generally, we have a fantastic time on the degree. Ask any questions. There's no silly questions. Lots of stuff that we can tell you. So just enjoy the evening, and hopefully you'll find something that will take your fancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And Fiona.
Hello everybody, it's really nice to meet all of you. So my name's Fiona. I'm an associate lecturer within the work-based distance learning team. So I've been with the university just over 5 years and in the business school for about 4.5 years. I am involved in quite a lot of the core modules that we offer within our degrees. I'm particularly interested in communication, digital communication, also academic writing and related skills. And at the moment, I'm studying part-time for my doctorate, which is focusing in corporate communication. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Fiona. So it's wonderful to have such a range of our team with you. We are a team of over 100, lots of specialisms. So one thing we all have in common, though, is wanting to help our students to get them to be the best they can be and to work forward. Any questions, big or small, please do drop them in the chat. Okay, so we have our first question there. So what does it mean to be a work-based distance learner? So I think first we'll go to Paul for his first-hand experience there. Paul, what would you describe a work-based distance learner as?
Well, certainly for me, I joined the military straight from school and didn't have the opportunity to go through university. Several decades later, when I was seeing that the jobs that were being advertised after I came out of the military were requiring a degree, I studied at Lincoln University while still holding the full-time jobs. So there's no, obviously there's tuition fees, but you don't have to pay accommodation fees. You can still hold down full-time employment, so it's financially viable to do a degree later in life. And basically, the degree is you apply it to the work that you're doing. So all of the modules that I did essentially were applicable to my work. And my dissertation at the end of my degree, I did a study and in training and education in my workplace, and implemented some of those changes of the research in my dissertation I did to the workplace. So it's not just a case of completing assignments for completing assignments' sake. I've found that you could apply the assignments to your workplace for the betterment of yourself and the workplace itself. It's essentially you're able to carry on a full-time normal job, but you've got to give some of your spare time up to completing a degree. So it's a really good scheme, I think. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Paul. I'd also like to pass this question over to Dr. Altersky. You look after lots of different work-based learners. What would you suggest a work-based distance learner is?
Well, we know that a work-based distance learner is somebody who's probably got management experience, who's quite experienced in the workplace, in their career, but maybe they want to actually turn that experience into a qualification. So we've got lots and lots of experience with working with this type of student that, you know, we actually really enjoy it because we can learn from them as well when they're bringing their workplace experiences and the things that they're doing in the workplace back into our modules. So we're teaching theory, we're teaching the different models and things like that to this type of learner, but we understand that this type of learner actually has already been implementing some of these things, and it's actually, this is the really exciting part, because they're putting what they're doing into practice and they're taking it into the sort of academic and knowledge-based sphere. So we really enjoy the sort of learning from each other, if that makes sense, in terms of the work-based learner.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Alex. Fiona, can I just ask you do a lot of work day to day with the students. Can you give an example of just the kind of types of students that you speak to on a daily basis?
Well, as Alex was saying, we do have a really wide range of backgrounds of students, and not just in terms of the jobs they do, but in terms of perhaps age and what they're doing within the actual workplace. So sort of some examples, I interact a great deal with military students, but also students within quite large corporations around the world, students within perhaps smaller size companies, a very wide variety of backgrounds. It could be in human resources, finance, logistics, all sorts of different things that they bring to the program. So very varied, we have very varied backgrounds, but everybody bringing something to their learning.
Wonderful, and thank you, Fiona. It looks like we have another question coming through, and this one will be right up your street, Tim. And it's what will be expected of you? So, Tim, can I pass this one to you? So, what will be expected of any student that would join us?
Okay, Amy, thanks very much. That's a huge question. It really is a huge question. But what I would suggest is that, you know, thinking about doing a work-based distance learning degree, you've got to think about the commitment, okay? And we as tutors will be totally dedicated to yourselves, and we would want that back from you. For instance, you know, if I was your tutor, I would say, let's have a collaborate session on a Thursday night or a Friday night or whatever. We'd agree a time, and then we would have that one-to-one, just as we are now. And that's really important. And the other thing is to have confidence in yourself. We will build your confidence, but I want you to come in with confidence as well, thinking you can do this. You know, you're not going to be 19 or 20, you're perhaps going to be a little bit older with lots of experience. And that's another avenue. You've got all that experience to bring to the party. And that's what we really enjoy, because we learn from you as much as you learn from us. I guarantee that. So it's really about having confidence, having to move forward, and thinking about where you want to go, what you want to talk about, what you want to write about, and then, you know, doing it. And I think once you get over the little bit of a, my God, what am I doing? And you'll really get to get into it, and you'll really enjoy it, and you will learn a lot, and you'll want to go on further. So I'll stop there now, but it is a fantastic way to better yourself and move forward as you want to do, not as we want you to do, as you want to do.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Tim. And Paul, I think it would be really good for people to hear that first-hand experience. Was the reality a little bit different for you? What was the expectations once you were on programme of yourself and what you felt that was required of you?
Absolutely. Just to echo what Tim said there, the fact that you are not entering this programme at 19 and 20 years old, I found for myself, it was a very collaborative relationship between the student and the tutor. And just to be further, what's expected of you, certainly timescales, you do work to deadlines, because the degree is not open-ended. You do have a certain amount of time to work to. So punctuality of submitting work is expected. Also, what's expected is the University of Lincoln has a fantastic online approach to conducting seminars to enable you to carry out the modules of your degree as you're going through it. So what's expected of you is you attend those or indeed catch up on the recorded modules, tutor sessions whenever you can. But I think just to echo what Tim said, what's expected of you is, for want of a better expression, a really grown-up relationship between the tutor and the student, in the fact that it is collaborative. You do work together, and you're expected to engage and put a full amount of effort, your maximum amount of effort in that you can. So it is a tall order, holding down a full-time job and mainly a family as well. But to say it in one word, what's expected of the student is effort. I think that covers it. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Paul. So I would like to hear from Fiona and Alex next on this one. Fiona, can we go to you first? You look after those module ones, you know, as students first getting started, academic skills, you know, what would you say is expected of students as they start on that journey within those module ones?
I would say, sort of echoing what Tim and Paul have said, first of all, I want to be able to have that adult management level type relationship with my students. They're bringing a huge amount of experience, and linked to that, what I like is, and I really hope my students are proactive. When we first start any new learning, especially in these first modules, there is that moment, as Tim said, of, my goodness, what am I doing? Sharing how a student is getting on with me, interacting with me, being proactive in finding resources, looking at their strengths and building on this together while we learn together, for me is really important. And I think it's remembering that because we're facilitating our students' learning, we're a guide on the side, we're not a stage on the stage. We will give you everything you need to achieve, I hope, your goals, but we also want you to be able to being proactive, seeking answers and seeking support when you need it to your learning.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Fiona. Alex, all students at level 6 get the opportunity to undertake entrepreneurship. What do you expect of your students who choose that as a particular module, as a particular area of specialism?
Well, I think I would echo probably what all module tutors and module coordinators is that, you know, we're really excited about our module. We're really excited about the topic. We're really excited about the way it can be applied in the workplace. The module that I deliver is Strategic Innovation and Opportunity Creation. Bit of a mouthful, but basically it's a module that's all about, looks at whether in the future you might want to start a business, and it's teaching you how to put together a business plan and understanding the theory and practice around that. But then also in the module, it's actually there's 2 routes in the module, and the other one you can actually look at if you're going to be doing some sort of project in the workplace, how to put together a business case, how to be able to enable sort of innovation and entrepreneurship with an I within your organization. And you know, obviously I love the topic. I've done a PhD in it, and I really sort of try and put that across, and I really love it when students get excited about the topic as well. And I mean, this week I've been reading business plans of all sorts of interesting businesses. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Momo's, but it's a Nepalese type fast food. And, you know, and I've read a business plan all about this, and, you know, I think it could definitely be a goer. And so that's something that's sort of really exciting for me. And I think through interacting with the student and reading the student's work, they're really excited about it as well. Just one little note in terms of the expectations. We do understand that some of you may have been out of education for a little while before you come back to us. And I think echoing what Fiona said, particularly on the earlier modules, you know, we've got things in place, so we don't just sort of throw you in at the deep end. You know, we go over referencing and all of those things, and because we understand you may have been out of education for a little while. So I think it's just that effort, enthusiasm and excitement that we want to see, but obviously I think you probably want to see it from us as well. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Alex. So we've got a question here coming through from Gary. Thank you for your question. So this Gary's asking, what happens if I lose my job or change jobs? Because of course this is a work-based degree that you're going to be choosing. So Tim, as one of our program leaders, do you mind sharing how you support students who may be transitioning in between jobs or may have lost a job while undertaking the program?
Yeah, Amy, what we've got to remember is we are incredibly flexible with what we do, and we are driven by the student really, and what needs the student have. If unfortunately you lose your job, we would support you in sort of having a break from it. Whatever, how length, we can't go forever, but we can have a break. But the most important thing is that you're not expending money whilst you're working with us, because you do that perhaps right at the beginning. So you could still carry on with your work, with your studies if you wanted to. The flexibility is immense as well. Say for instance, you couldn't work, then you can interrupt for a long period of time if you wish to. I won't go into details, but you can interrupt for, I think it's 2 years, which we don't really like to advertise because you don't want people to do that. But that is the amount of flexibility we can give you. So I would say if you were unfortunate and not working, then you'd have to talk to us, obviously, and we'd be very sympathetic, but also pragmatic as well. And we would work out how we could help you, maybe interrupting or whatever. Okay, but that's something down the line which perhaps we don't want to have, but we will have the expertise on hand to do that. We have a wonderful admin team who know far more than I, and I would ask them to come and help as well. So what I'm trying to say is it's not the end of the world. We can sort something out. We want to keep you on here, so we want you to graduate, and that would be our goal.
Wonderful, thank you, Tim. So just to add there, as Tim said, you've got these options. You could pause your studies, maybe if you need some time to job hunt or just to take a bit of a break, or you can speak with your tutor and see how you can develop your work going forward. You join a work-based program with a wealth of underpinning management information and knowledge. That knowledge does not disappear if you are unemployed or change jobs. Again, your tutor would work with you. We do have, especially at the dissertation stage, students are being often promoted within that final dissertation, and they will then want to change, the focus of their dissertation to match the role that they're going to be doing in the future. So if you lose your job or you change jobs, you could pause, but also you could continue working with us. We will help you access data and case study approaches should that need to be, but the knowledge you have isn't going to disappear because you are out of work. So thank you for that. That's a really good question. And we've got a question here from John Carter. So John, serving in the RAF, has been looking at Lincoln, but in 2019, the level 5 was considered out of date as it was in 2010. Is there flexibility in this area? So, John, we do have, so in terms of qualifications and in terms of then using them as entry on the program, they have like a 5-year lifespan. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to use an ILM if it was achieved in 2010. But again, you have that knowledge, you have that experience. And we consider every student on an individual basis, which is part of why work-based again is so brilliant. And so, John, we will be, if I can ask if we can put the email address across the bottom, could you please send us your CV through to our mpg@lincoln.ac.uk page, and we will review your CV. Working in the military, we use rank. We use those courses at ILME. It's definitely still valuable, and we'll look at it on an individual basis. So, John, certainly we do have flexibility. There is this consideration of if the knowledge is still up to date, but that does not discount you from coming onto the programme. We can identify a way to onboard you. And we'll do that through multiple ways. You know, what CPD have you done at work? What other courses have you done? So please do get in touch. So we've got a question here from Chris. This is a question for you, Tim. So we might also, actually, with this one, can I ask our geniuses in the background if maybe we could bring Amy Scoville, our senior administrator, in for this question as well. So Amy, thank you, as if by magic. Tim, this question is addressed to you, but if you don't mind, I will pass it over to Amy because she is our resident expert. With an extended pause, does it incur an extra charge for a third year of study? So I think there's almost two elements to that.
There is indeed. So obviously I was going to be coming on later to talk about the kind of support that us as administrators can offer throughout the programme, and obviously I'll continue to do that later. But basically, as Tim alluded to earlier, we do have what is called an interruption process that all students can access. So at any point throughout the course, if you are struggling to be able to actively study, obviously, like has been mentioned previously by our academics here, that you're doing this alongside your life, you're doing this alongside your personal life and your work life. If either of those things or even, heaven forbid, both of those things become too much in the point where your study has to take a back seat, then what we can do is interrupt your studies. It basically means wherever you are within your study, you will stop. And then when you are at a point where you can actively, well, come back to actively study once more, you will start again from when you left off. So if you're in module 2, week 4, you will come back to module 2, week 4. For example. So that's the kind of flexibility we have. Depending obviously on the journey that you take through, standardly the degree will take, so the 6 modules for the degree will take approximately 18 months to complete. So that obviously is within the 2-year time frame, being a part-time studier, as it were. However, if on an exceptional circumstance, times kind of get away from us through one thing and another, through extended interruptions or, heaven forbid, things like resits and such like that you may have to do. On those rare occasions, if it does bump you into a 3rd year, there is the potential of a 3rd year fee being incurred. However, it is only an administrative fee. But that is at an absolute last resort and is very, very rare circumstance because our programmes are designed to be completed within 18 months. I hope that answers the question, Amy, if you wanted to add anything else.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you, Amy. I will add, because I have nothing to do with finance, that final year fee is normally around the £550 mark in terms of an admin fee. You're not going to be paying another £6,000 for that extra bit. You know, it's designed to support. It's not designed to make money out of anybody. So I think just as a, well, I can't be exact on the number because, like I say, I'm not in finance, just so that you have an idea of what that cost may be. So lots of caveats around that, but just so that you're aware. Thank you for that, Amy. Like I said, I'll say that bit. So thank you for that question, Chris. So we've got a question from Alan. Alan's currently serving in the Army, and he's interested in logistics management. So SCLM, do we have anyone in the room who's aware of this one?
Amy, yes, I can take this a little bit. So this gentleman's in the Army, and he has to have a level 5 equivalent. If this individual was a corporal or above, they could apply to the Chartered Institute of Transport for membership. Okay, and that we agree is a level 5 qualification. So it all depends on what the individual has already and what rank he is. Okay, so if you can get that information, I could give you a better answer than what I can give you at the moment. But there is a way through. We do have that partnership between the Army and the SILT. Really, really useful. So yeah, if you can let me have a bit more detail, I'll be able to come back to you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Tim. So, Alan, if you could drop us an email to that mpg@lincoln.ac.uk. If you could send us through a CV if you have one, or your rank, it could just be rank and a copy of that SCLM, then we will tell you how you can access your course. We're all really passionate about further education and about experiential learning. When we review a student's CV, we will always signpost you to where you could develop. That might not be with us, that might be something else, because we're about making sure that you can make the progress that we believe would be best for you. So please do send through that CV and your qualification, and let us look at it. Thank you for that question. I think the similar vein, we've got a question here from Sam. Sam, also serving in the British Army, has been advised that he's already earned 75 credits from phase 2 training. Okay, so again, we might want Amy Scoville back on for this one. So can I just pass to Tim as a military link tutor? Tim, can you just let Sam know how that credits from his military learning will have been taken into account?
Hi Sam. I'm assuming that you've done the Troop Commanders course at Sandhurst, which is phase 2 training. If you have done that, bizarrely, you will already have done some of our modules. You probably won't know that, but we actually embed them in your TCC training. Okay, so that's where the 75 credits comes in. I'm not sure that is, and Amy will be able to speak better on the 75 credits because that has recently changed. But yes, you are very much welcome to apply with your experience from the Army so far. Some people from the TCC like to just wait a couple of years to get embedded into their jobs, but that's entirely up to yourself. You do, I think, have 5 years to come back to us if that is the case. But it really would, you've got the right grade, the right caliber. There will be no barring from you at all. But you just have to look at the 75 credits rather than 45 credits. And I'll ask Amy if she could explain that a little bit more better than I can.
Can I just jump in the middle there? Just as the transition through, sorry, Tim, just to pick on that, how is it reflected as a grade towards a degree? So if you are on an accredited phase 2 training that is in part of the partnership agreement with the university on a military site, the grades that you achieve in your situational exercises, your exams, your oral briefs will have been passed through to the university as part of the agreement, and those grades will be reflected exactly within your transcript. So I just want to pass this question over to Amy now. So if Sam believes that he should be on the list for this, what should he do now?
Basically, what I would say, Sam, is if you could basically contact us, drop us an email into that mpg at lincoln.ac.uk email address. Let us know basically exactly what you've done. If it is the TCC course that we think it may be, that Tim was referring to, can you let us know if you know the course number and also when you completed it? And then we can go to your base and have a chat with them to see, obviously, if we can get your information across to us, and we can advise you further from there as to how you then on board with the university to do the remaining modules to get your degree. Obviously, we can also advise on financing and everything as well. So I think the first thing would be just to drop us an email. If you could be a little bit more explicit, like I say, as to exactly what you've done and when you did it, we can take it from there if it's okay. Because I just want to double check that it is what we think it is, because we don't want to misadvise you, obviously, here. And again, obviously, if we need more advice from our academics, we'll refer that through to the programme leads as well. So yeah, so if you could just pop that into an email for us, and we'll get back to you as a matter of urgency.
Thank you for that question, Sam. Just say anyone who's done any military closed routes, we do have to make sure that you were registered at that time. So we very much have to be able to look at your profile and make sure that you were signed up and added on while you were part of that military tutoring. Okay, so I've got a question here from Paz. So assuming that an individual would require an extension or pause, if that was to overlap another academic year, does the individual then incur an additional year of tuition fees? That is a brilliant question. And sorry, guys, I'm going to pass this one straight back to Amy again.
Okay, so no, is the phrase. When you pause that study, however long you take on interruption, so however many days you take on interruption, will move your re-enrollment date forward. So if you're enrolled within your first year with us, so we don't necessarily work on academic years for this purpose, we work on calendar years. So if you start with us in the May, your year will run from May to May. If within that first year you take a pause on your studies, you take up that interruption, like I say, however many days you take will move forward your re-enrollment date. So we will advise you as and when you're ready to come back to your studies, when you can kind of come back to where you left off, so on the module that you left off. So we'll give you the dates, and whatever that time frame is that you've had as a period of interruption, what we would call inactive study time, will move your re-enrollment date forward. So you start in May, you take a month off in, I don't know, July. Instead of re-enrolling in May, you'd be re-enrolling in June, for example. Does that make sense? So it would move on. You would obviously, each academic year, you will pay your tuition fee. So the fee that's advertised, I believe what is advertised is the course fee. So we can break that course fee down into two payments, one that is expected at the very beginning of your programme, and then one that is expected at that re-enrolment date. But again, like I say, that re-enrolment date won't be until you have completed effectively 365 days of active study. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you for that, Amy. So we've got a question here from IPO, and it's about the course grading. So Alex, are you okay to pick this up for us in terms of, how do we grade our modules, and how do you get those classifications?
Yeah, the module is the course is graded like any other degree. So you end up with a full degree, be it a BA or BSc. So in terms of that, we grade each module, and each module is given a percentage out of 100. And so 70 plus is equivalent of a first, 60 to 69 a 2-1, 50 to 59 a 2-2, and 40 to 49 a third. Obviously, there is a potential to fail a module, but we do have resit opportunities and things like that as well. So then we calculate and we add together your modules, and you'll end up with a first 2-1, 2-2, etc. at the end, just like any other degree. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Alex. Paul, can I just ask, because you'll have received a grade for each module that you took, how did you use those grades to help work through your personal goals?
Well, the feedback that comes with the grades, I was quite fortunate to be able to build on the feedback, and the grades progressively throughout my degree went up, and it's a great tangible benchmark to be able to fix your sights on. I've received grade X, so therefore with this feedback I'm now going to go for grade Y. And if you can see an exponential curve rising up as what you're awarded, it really is rewarding. So that the first 2-1, 2-2 and third side of things, set your sights as high as you can and take the feedback. The feedback that the tutors gives you is excellent. Work on that feedback and then aspire for the next grade up as you're working through. It is a good system to be graded as such, I feel.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. We've got another question coming through here from Usman. And I think, Amy, this one might be you, because it'll be first off, Usman says he's got 12 years in transport. He was hoping for a callback. Can you just could you just explain how communications are working at the moment with the university?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, at the moment, we are all, well, apart from myself, obviously I'm sat in the office, but my colleagues are all working from home at the moment on the administrative side, and clearly on the academic side as well. However, I am concerned that you haven't had a callback as yet. I've just had a quick look at our inbox, and I can see that we've had some communication from you, and it has been responded to. However, I think that it may now have actually gone through to our central team, who basically continue with the application process once our internal administrative team have kind of advised through the inquiry stage. So what I will do, Usman, is just basically take your details down, and I will chase our central team to see where they are at with your application at the moment, and see if we can get a response for you as soon as possible. So I'm terribly sorry that you haven't had the response just yet, but I will get on to that.
Wonderful. Thank you for picking that up, Amy. So then, just to answer your question about qualifications for maths and English, what I would expect to see within an application pack is your highest qualification and the qualification linked to your particular discipline. So it might be your highest qualification maybe in engineering, but you may also have a management qualification at a level 3 or level 4. So I'd also always say include your highest qualification, but also the qualifications that link to the degree title that you're applying to. So you don't need to include qualifications for maths, English, or GCSE. You do need to, if your qualification hasn't been delivered in English, you will need to put through evidence of IELTS or similar. Fiona, can I just ask if you're able to suggest some alternatives for people to evidence the standard of English they'll need to undertake a qualification?
If an applicant, if their medium of instruction in school hasn't been English, then generally you'll be asked for a proficiency test score. IELTS is very popular, obviously in Britain, because it's British English, but there are alternatives to IELTS as well. There's TOEFL. And the banding, even though it's described differently, they all come out at about the same level, which in IELTS is approximately 7.5. But it's worth checking, as Amy said, what your qualification is, Because it could be, even if you haven't done the GCSEs, if, for example, you took International Baccalaureate, that could be accepted. So it really also depends on the background of what you studied, perhaps at school or post-school. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Fiona. So a whole host of answers to some slightly linked questions there. Thank you for that question. So we've got a question here from Gary Bradford. We get asked this one quite a bit. Can you complete the course more quickly? Tim, I'll come to you first because I know you get this question a lot. What would you say to Gary?
It's a difficult one, really, because we've changed the way we do things, really. When I first started this, yes, you could do it as quickly as you could, but we were finding that wasn't conducive to good studying. The grades weren't brilliant. So I would suggest a year is a minimum to get through this course, and even that I would say would be pushing it, because you're busy people out there, and you've got lots of things to do. And what we really want you to do is use the whole of your sort of experience with us, and not just flash it through as quickly as possible, because I think at the end of the day, you probably regret that because you wouldn't have had the whole experience. But in terms of what you can do within the rules, I'm not sure about that. I'd have to ask Amy to expand on that. Because I just don't know. But my gut feeling from a tutor doing lots and lots of this and having this question lots of time is take your time, do it properly. You study as you want to, not as other people want you to do it. It's your decision, it's your degree, and you want to enjoy it. And believe it or not, you can enjoy it. And I know it's a degree, I know it's really hard, and everyone tells me it's really hard, but it's not. It's how much effort you want to put into it which will give you the grade, not how quickly you do it. So I'll stop there, but hopefully that's helped a little bit.
It does. Thank you, Tim. So the average does take that 15 to 18 months of active study. It can be done in that. Obviously, I just want to mention here that people pause, births, marriages, deaths, projects at work. A degree that takes you 5 years or it takes you 15 years, they are both worth the same at the end. Paul, I'm going to ask Paul just to share his experience with the time frame, and then I'm going to ask Alex just to talk about how his module works over the 10-week time frame of a module. So Paul, can I just ask, how long did you take on your degree, if you don't mind sharing that?
Yes, absolutely, Amy. I started in October 2018 and I finished in May 2020. I didn't have any breaks, and certainly talking to some students that had breaks into the learning and into the academic writing side of things, a little bit more difficult than if they'd gone straight through. So if you are considering doing this degree, I would heartily advocate that you plan to start and work all the way through it, because you'll find it a little bit more difficult if you do choose for a break, and then your academic writing skill set, and if you do keep the momentum, and it easier to complete. So I completed in, I think it was 19 months, but certainly don't bank on trying to pause your studies throughout, because it does make it harder for yourself. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for that, Paul. I think it's really important that people get to hear, an example of that real experience. So I did just touch upon there that our 15 credit modules take 10 weeks to complete. You can put your time within this, but I'm going to pass over to Alex just to talk a little bit about how that 10-week works in his module.
Yeah, so a 10-week module then. So basically the week before the module starts, you're given access to all the learning materials, you're given access to the module handbook, to the actual virtual learning environment that we use, Blackboard. You can access to what the assessment is asking for. There's welcome videos, etc., etc. And then our actual module site, our virtual learning environment, is set up so that you can get started on the module before you actually touch base with your tutor. But you will receive an email from your tutor also just the week before, welcoming you to the module and actually inviting you to a webinar, a taught session. So we normally have that taught session in week 2 of the module. So, but before that, there's videos, etc., so that you can actually make sure that you've got an understanding of the module. So you're actually starting the module in your own way. On that webinar, we go through the module, we actually go through what is expected of the assessment, we go through some of the main theory that you need to look at, we go through and speak to you about how you can link this to your workplace. So it is sort of like a taught session where there's teaching linked to the module, but it's also a session where we're actually sort of showing you how the module works, what you do, what sort of things that you need to actually do to be successful in the module. So there's that taught session, and then you'll have over the next couple of weeks of the module, you'll be in communication with your module tutor. So you're assigned an individual module tutor for each module, and that your module tutor will be making sure that you are okay with everything that you're doing, be offering tutorials, be offering help. Of course, the way that the module's set up is set up in stages so that every week you can go to the virtual learning environment, Blackboard, and you can work through those stages, and bit by bit you're building on your learning, you're building your knowledge, and you're actually building the assessment for your module. So it's all set up so it can be done sort of in your own time, around your own schedule, but obviously you've still got that individual module tutor that you can talk to, if you get stuck. So then you go on to, on my module, you go on to week 6, and we have another group session, group tutorial, a webinar, where we basically talk through the module again. We talk about some of the things that you've been looking at. It's a chance for you to be able to ask questions, to speak to your peers and the other students that are doing the module. And what we're doing there is we're really getting you ready for, because obviously as you get towards later in the module, you're actually handing in your work, your assignment. So we're just making sure that you're aware of what's required of you in the assignment. We're talking about ideas of what you're going to put in your assignment. And we do ask for a draft version or hand-in of your assignment. So at sort of the end of week 7 or within week 7, we do ask for a draft version of your assignment. So you'll send in the work that you've done so far. It may not be completely finished, but you're giving us an idea of what you've been working on, and we will give you detailed feedback on that particular work, and we'll show you how you can improve it, where there might be issues, where there's strengths that you can actually strengthen further. So you get your feedback, and then towards the end of the module, well, actually into week 9, you actually will hand in your work for that module, and that'll be an official hand-in. That work is marked, and you'll get your marks back, and then you're on to the next module. So that's kind of how it works on each module. So it is really flexible, and the way that it's set is that you're sort of working through the virtual learning environment resources, but you've always got that person that you can email, that you can book a tutorial with, you can book a Teams meeting with. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, I've had a Teams meeting with a student in Brunei. I've had one with a student in South Africa, and I've had one with a student in Lincolnshire. So, you've got that sort of one-to-one as well. So that's kind of how it works. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. We've got a question from Usman here about the BSc Logistics Management. So it is a BSc in Logistics Management. It's a Bachelor's of Science with honours. You also, with that particular program, you do get chartered membership of SILT if you complete with a 2-2 or above at this moment in time. These things are subject to change, but will be within those T's and C's when you join. So chartered management of CILT, but also it would give you chartered manager status. So that's the highest level of chartership that you can achieve within management. And you will also get a level 5 diploma, which is your professional qualification alongside your academic qualification. In terms of that chartered manager status, Paul, I'm going to ask you this one because you were one of our first chartered managers. Can I just, would you be happy to explain from your point of view what a chartered manager is and what difference it's made to you?
Certainly. The chartered manager accreditation, as I said, I'd been in management positions in my professional role for years. However, the chartered manager accreditation is an official chartered from a professional body. It's a recognition of not only the past, the experience in the past that you've done, but also the academic learning you've done on the degree. And from a personal point of view, I very recently actually did a job interview, and the interview panel were very interested in the fact that I was a chartered manager. The organisation that I was going to was looking at expanding and requiring people in management roles as it expanded. And I think that the fact that I had the BSc honours as well as the chartered manager helped me be a successful candidate in my job interview, and I start my new position towards the end of August. So chartered management, the member of the Institute of Leadership and Management, and indeed being a chartered manager as well, does give you a lot of gravitas when you're applying for positions in management roles. Hopefully that answers your question.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Paul. And just so hopefully in terms of chartered manager, we're so happy with it. We feel it's so important that we have all of our students who complete a level 6 management program will achieve chartered manager. Alex, a lot of your students have currently been awarded with chartered manager. Do you have anything to add from an academic point of view of how that aspect works?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of chartered manager, just to echo Paul, really, you know, employers do sort of view it as a real bonus. And you know, the Chartered Management Institute, you know, firstly, their sort of principles around management are something that you know, we aspire to. We teach on our courses, and really we embody all of that onto our courses. And so the students, it's really good that they have something that they can put sort of after their name, much like Paul has there, the chartered manager, you know, those initials really. So it's a real bonus, and it does link really much to our modules, you know, because when we're looking at modules, modules to do with, say, project management, or say innovation, you know, or managing developing people, for instance, they all link to these principles of the chartered manager. So it's just a really good fit together, really, and it's a real added value to our degrees that we offer here at the university.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Alex. So we've got a question from Usman here in terms of he's already got 65 credits from a previous university. So I'll pick this one up. In terms of evidencing level, if you are a manager in a management position, you can use credits from any other qualification as well to go with that experience for our business management course, for example. So you'd need to send through your transcript, and then we'd look at that transcript and look at the level and how that would match into your management degree. So yes, if you've got degree credits from another degree, do include those with that application. So thank you for that one. Just an update here from Alan. He just confirmed, Tim, that he is currently a sergeant. So Alan, Tim and I can confirm to you, if you've been in rank for 2 years, then you would be able to join us having 2 years experience as a sergeant. If you haven't had that for 2 years yet, still get in touch, because we'll be able to look at what courses you've done to get to where you are in order to help you with that access. For any of those who aren't at that sergeant rank yet, the sergeant rank gets you direct entrance into level 6 of your degree. If you are a corporal or lower, you will be able to have access. Corporal is access to level 5, and your petty officer at that level 4. So, you know, you can use, if you have a military rank or if you have a professional body equivalent within your role, you can use it as entry onto the program. Okay, we've got a question here. This is one for Amy. So enrollment date. So can you share our application dates and enrollment dates for the next one, please?
Absolutely. So our next intake will be in October, and we're asking everybody to make their applications, their full applications, by the 27th of September. And then we ask them to be enrolled by the 18th of October. So you will start your programme on the 18th of October. I say full application because obviously we do ask for an application pack in order to come onto the programme. So it is obviously the standard kind of application form that you would expect. Things like ID, because obviously we may never see you. We would like to know that you are who you say you are. Obviously your qualifications, your CV, and we will ask for a couple of references as well. One on a kind of personal type reference and one on a professional type scale, and obviously a personal statement from yourself as well, just to express really why you want to come onto the programme, and obviously what makes you you know, a good candidate for that programme as well. So there are just a few kind of documents that need to be provided within that application pack, but they're not too onerous, thankfully. If you aren't able to make the October date, start date for the programme, we do have 3 intakes a year. So we run them in October every year, in March every year, sometimes February, depending on the dates, and in May. So we have 3 intakes a year. And therefore, if you can't make one, obviously you can move on to the next one, whatever fits in with your life.
Thank you for that, Amy. And I think you're in demand because this next question would be for you as well. Amy is our LCAS expert. So we've got a question here from Damien. So he's a corporal in the RAF. Can he use his ELCs to pay for part of his fees?
Yes, is the short answer. So yes, obviously there are, I believe there still are, in fact, standard learning credits and the advanced learning credits as well. It would obviously be dependent on what you're currently entitled to, depending on length of service. But yes, the majority of our military personnel will use their ELC funding to fund a fair amount of their tuition fee. Again, we can advise on that in greater detail via email. So obviously, if you are interested in the programme, by all means, drop us an email and we can advise further. But basically, what we tend to do is ask you, when I mentioned earlier that we can break our course fee down into the 2 annual payments, we basically split that course fee in half. So you're paying half at the beginning of your programme and then half when you re-enroll into your second year. That basically means that you end up using 2 LCAS payments. So you apply for your LCAS funding for the half of the fee, so the first year fee, as it were. And traditionally, I think the military have often paid a good 2/3 of the fee, and then you would be expected just to pay that extra third. And then obviously you would then, when you come to enrol for your second year, we will give you plenty of notice as to when you're expected to do that. And at that point, you would again apply for your LCAS funding and make another application for that second year payment as well. So in that respect, it does become quite cost effective, which is wonderful. But if you come up against any problems, obviously do just drop us an email and we can advise further. But standardly, you would go to your learning advisors on camp and talk to them about how you would go about getting that funding, or go to obviously LCAS directly and they'll be able to advise.
Wonderful, thank you for that, Amy. So we've got a question here from Gary, and so he's asking about face-to-face modules within the course, or will it remain as web-based? So Gary, we've always been an online program, online suite area. So we've been doing the online distance learning for 20 years, albeit that it started off with post boxes rather than email. We do have some face-to-face, but first I'm going to ask Fiona if she can talk about how that module 1 works in terms of being web-based, and then I'm just going to ask Tim to talk a little bit about our optional on-site days, if that's something that you're interested in, and just ask Paul as I suppose as well. So Fiona, can you tell us a little bit of how the module works being web-based?
So with the first module, in terms of contact between tutor and students, as Amy said, it is 100% online delivery, but the contact with us, there's actually quite extensive contact in that whenever you need a tutorial or anything like that, your tutors are there for you. But there's also scheduled meetings online where the tutor group gathers together, and that will be led by the tutor. And as Alex was saying earlier, it takes you through the module. First module, there's 3 of these. So there is that interaction with people. You can interact with your tutor anytime you like. There can be phone calls, online meetings. If you were in Lincoln, and obviously dependent upon COVID restrictions, you might even be able to drop by and see the tutor, but you'd need to arrange that. Other contacts you would have, just to share with you, is on our online platform, we have a discussion thread. So you're interacting with the tutor there, but also with your peers. So it's really nice because you will build up a learning community with them, and you're probably going to meet the same people throughout your degree on other modules as well. So you do build up quite a nice community in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Tim, do you mind just sharing your experience, because you've done quite a few of these now, the on-site Saturday days?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, before COVID, we used to have 3 on-site days every year. It doesn't sound much, but it would be really, really good. And we're hoping very soon to be able to do that again. What we do, we go out first to potential students and say, what do you want out of this day? And then we tell them what they want, okay? Because we know what we really need to do. And we just start with thinking about being an academic, working towards your goals, talking to other students as well, looking at what sort of focus they've got and their experiences. And then we had some formal sort of tuition from us to you. And we can tailor that to whatever you want to talk about, really. It's all about you and how you're moving forward. Sorry, I've just been told that my wife's going swimming. It's about you moving forward, and we would tailor it to actually what you want to do. I certainly do a leadership session, which goes down really well. I enjoy it, and we get a lot of focus on that. And I know there's lots of other things going on as well. And what we'll do, we'll actually contact you beforehand and say, look, what do you want? We know what we've got to give you, but then what do you want? And we will try and make that happen. So it'd be great to get back to that. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but hopefully it won't be too long now.
Thank you for that, Tim. We are booked in to all be back on site on our next on-site day on the 30th of October, assuming that none of the rules change, and we'll hopefully be able to welcome people in on the 30th. Paul, sorry, I really want to bring you in here. Can you let us know a little bit about your experience of coming, just coming on site to the University of Lincoln and being a part of those Saturday days?
Yes, I was fortunate enough to be very local to Lincoln during my degree, and I had the opportunity to meet my tutors face to face. Also, the Saturday seminars I found extremely useful. not only the academic content, but the networking. And as Fiona quite rightly said, you'll find that naturally throughout your degree journey, you will pick up a little academic friendship group, because you do travel through several modules together depending on what stream you're on. As well, I think it's worth mentioning that do run seminars on things like critical thinking and academic writing, and they're held in the library. The librarians are qualified to teach you the academic skills that you need to complete your degree. And also as well, regarding being local to Lincoln, University Library is a fantastic information for, you don't really have to be at a distance to be a distance learner. If you can get to Saturdays throughout and to the library as well, it's certainly worth doing so. And we certainly, as our little learning group, set up a WhatsApp group so we could chat and bounce ideas or communicate regarding the modules as well. So by all means, don't think that as a distance learner you're barred from the university. The opposite is true. Your tutors are very, very welcoming. They're very accommodating to meet you, really endorse getting to the Saturday sessions that are run, and to the university library as well. It really will help you through your degree journey.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Paul. I would just like to bring some brilliant questions coming from here. So I'd just like to bring these two together. I've got a question here from ABC and Chris. These are very individual questions. So I'll pass them to Amy. Can you suggest for these two questions, how would a student work out how much that they need to pay monthly, and how would they find the predicted end dates for their military funding forms?
Would help if I wasn't muted, wasn't it? Obviously, earlier we spoke about LCAS funding a little bit. We also mentioned that the course itself is approximately an 18-month-long course. However, when it comes to LCAS funding, we have to put that forward in actual years. So when you go for your first year funding, so if you come to us in October, want to start in October, for example, you would put the start date of the course. So I think I mentioned previously 18th of October. So you'd put 18th of October as your start date, 2021, and your end date for LCAS purposes would be 18th of October 2022. When you then go to enrol into your second year, so when you go to apply again for your second bout of funding, you would put in October, 18th of October 2022, or obviously if you had an interruption period and your re-enrollment date had been moved forward, you would put whatever that re-enrollment date is onto that form, and then you basically put the end date as the following year. So again, if you had a month off, you'd put 18th of November 2022 to 18th of November 2023, for example. So you would do it as that year per time that you access that funding. Standardly, if you are entitled to enhanced learning credits, it is usually £2,000 that the military will pay towards your funding, and therefore per LCAS application. And then from there you would pay the personal contribution to make up that year's fee. That personal contribution can be broken down into monthly payments. That is something, and they are interest-free monthly payments as well. That is something that we would ask you to set up with our central university finance team. And basically what you would do is set up a standing order with them, basically. So you would break down that personal contribution down into, I believe they do it over a 10-month period, I think, because they like to get it within obviously the year, but they would be able to advise further on that. But like I say, it is interest free, and it just basically means that you can split the cost monthly as well. And like I say, it is, when you set that up, it is for that year's fee. So as I said earlier, the course fee is as the course fee is. You split that in half to make your first year fee. That first year fee, you get, like I say, you apply for LCAS funding that will give you the 2,000, whatever the remainder is. And I'm saying whatever the remainder is because we are in a position at the moment where our fees are changing. They do go, they do fluctuate, obviously, each year. And because we're about to go into a new academic year in October, we are just awaiting confirmation, strict confirmation of those fees. So whatever that personal contribution is for that year, that is what you then break down into your monthly payments with our finance team. I hope that makes sense for everyone. Amy, did you want to add anything else there?
No, that's wonderful, Amy. I just in the comments now, we've got, thank yous there, and it being a clearer way ahead. So could we pass to you to talk about that application stage? What is the way ahead? What needs to happen now?
Gosh, yes, you're going to get sick of me talking, aren't you? Right. If anybody wants to dive in at any point, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to do so. But basically, I am the senior administrator of a team of 6 at the moment, who basically will see you through from inquiry all the way through to graduation. So we will look after you administratively throughout that process. So at any point, you can talk to us. The email addresses are going along the bottom there. So those 2 email addresses are the email addresses for the inquiry and application stage. So if you want to know anything about the programmes from us, whether it's to do with entry criteria, basically everything that's been asked in the chat, obviously that we've been going through now, but entry criteria, programme information itself, anything that you can think of, put it into an email to us and we will get back to you, and we will start that conversation in the way of getting you onto the programme. If we need further information, if we need further confirmation from our academics, we will obviously go out and get that on your behalf, and we will get back to you obviously as soon as we can, so you've got everything in writing there. Ultimately, obviously, when it comes down to the application, it is our programme leaders who will permit students onto their programme. So we'll look at your, like Amy has been saying, we'll look at your CV, we'll look at your qualifications in order, and obviously when it comes to the military ranks, when it comes to other people interested in the programme, it will be a case of looking at your management experience and everything else that you've got there work-wise. It's basically a case of just getting in touch with us and talking to us, really. We will hold your hand through the process. We will get you onto the programme. If for whatever reason we can't get you onto the programme at this very moment in time, we will advise on additional qualifications, or usually professional bodies, etc., that you can go for in order to become eligible. From there, we will guide you through the application process itself, like I said earlier, with all the documentation that's required. We will then guide you through the enrolment process. We will then guide you through obviously the introduction and the start to your course. So you will have emails coming from us every step of the way, so you will not be alone. As I say, once you're on that programme, you will basically have one of my team will be your dedicated administrator. So they will be looking after you through that programme. Obviously, you will have your programme leader to refer to as well, and you will have your tutors throughout the course also. If at any point you don't feel that you can speak to your tutor or your module coordinator or your programme leader, then email the admin team. We are independent from our academics. So if there is something that is worrying you throughout the course, we can advise further as well. It may be the case that we will get advice, obviously, from our academics, or they may need to be aware of certain situations. But if you don't feel that either you can talk to them at that particular moment in time, or you can't get hold of somebody, if it's really, really urgent, we are around. We are on, at the moment, as I say, we are working from home, but we are on emails constantly, basically in office hours. So the administrative team work from 8 o'clock in the morning through to 4:30 in the evening. So you will have a port of call there. I will put that with the caveat of we do have a 3 to 5 day turnaround to get back to people. However, it is usually way within that. So please do like I say, please do talk to us, because we are there. We are, where was I going to go from that? Oh, well, spoken about financing and funding, obviously. If you are not military personnel, you do also have access to the standard funding that's available, certainly if you're in the UK, through the Student Loan Company as well. We are there under a part-time programme, because obviously as distance learners you are classed as part-time learners, because you are doing those modules over a longer period of time. Also, maybe just a point to note that obviously what we are doing here with these programmes is basically bringing you on to a level 6 of that programme. That's why we standardly ask for a level 5. So we need a level 5 in order to effectively bypass what we would call the first 2 years of the degree and put you onto that 3rd year in order to complete it. As Amy alluded to earlier, we also have a couple of courses as well that we can look at you for at a level 4 and a level 5 as well, so we can start that journey with you. It's a case of looking at your CV, looking at where you're at in your learning journey, both academically and work-based, obviously, and experientially, and we will advise where we can put you in on that degree path. But ultimately, we can advise you once looking at all of those things, and we will take you on through that journey. We will take you onto the like I say, if it is the level 6, onto that level 6, you will do 6 modules with us within that 18 months, and you will get your honours degree. At the end, obviously, of that honours degree, you will be invited to Lincoln Cathedral to be able to come and have an actual face-to-face graduation ceremony. Obviously, everything recently has been put a little bit on hold because of the current pandemic. However, obviously, by the time yourselves get through to that graduation period, hopefully everything will be, fingers crossed, back to normal, and you'll be able to meet the academics that have been on your programme. You'll be able to meet your colleagues that you've gone through that programme with, and basically have a jolly good celebration of all your hard work. Amy, do you want me to add anything else from an administrative point of view?
No, I think that was wonderful, Amy. I think it might be just worth Paul mentioning how he used the admin team, because obviously both teams are very important, the academic teams and the admin team. Paul, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, just trying to unmute.
Oh, sorry, Paul.
Sorry about that. Just the mute button. So.
Okay.
Sorry, am I back with you now? Yeah, sorry. I must admit the admin team was superb throughout the degree journey, from the onboarding process through to the signposting of what we needed to do regarding getting paperwork in. Everything, and as Amy quite rightly said, you're assigned an individual to take you through the journey. Working days turnaround time was never ever that long. I used to get answers in the same day. The delivery was one day, and there was no question answered. So, and I send in an email at the end of the process congratulating the admin team on their absolute dedication and professionalism to getting all the students sorted. I was the student rep for 120 people during my cohort, and everybody was praising the admin team, that how efficient and how much they felt they were valued as a student. So, and by the way, I'm not on Lincoln University's payroll. This is from personal experience. The admin team were superb throughout the entire journey.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Paul. So what I'd like to do is thank everybody for their questions and for the team for joining me to speak to you all tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful. I would just like to finish on why we think you should join us. So I'm going to go with the high level. University of Lincoln, Modern University of the Year. It's top in the Sunday Times, and the good universities. We've got our TEF Gold, which is the highest you can in terms of teaching. On that international level, we've got that 5-star score overall in the QS ranking. So I've gone really high level there. If you had a University of Lincoln degree certificate, it is worth a lot, and it's not worth a lot just in the UK, it's worth a lot globally. So that's my pitch of why I think you should join us as a university. So I'm going to pass to Alex, and we'll just go around just so that we can all share our little bits of what we think, why you think you should join us. So Alex, over to you.
Well, I think to echo what I was discussing before, we have the Chartered Management Institute Level 5, which is sort of embedded within the course. So you're getting really good value there. You're not only getting your degree, but you're getting the Chartered Management Institute Level 5 and all the sort of kudos linked to that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Amy, you're next on my screen.
It would also help to have my mute on, wouldn't it? Ultimately, we are a community. I know that sounds a little bit twee, but we are. As much as you would be distance learning students, like Paul said, you are more than welcome on this campus at absolutely any point. You are a university student at the end of the day. You have every access to every facility on this campus, including the student union and the discounts they provide. So all of these things basically make you welcome with us. Obviously, being a distance learning student, it is a case of interaction. Ultimately, we can't help you if we don't know what you need from us as well. We will try and provide everything there for you, but we do need to hear from you also. So it's a case of interacting, getting involved, getting through that degree. The more you interact, the easier it will be for you. And just, try and get us into your life, and we will get you through and qualified.
Thank you, Amy. And to Paul, you're next.
For me personally, it was a second check. Decided for whatever reason to not go through the university program when I was leaving A levels, leaving school, and had a professional career in the armed forces. And for me, why you become a work-based distance learner, it affords you the opportunity to be able to do a degree, and it's never ever too late to learn. Don't accept that view from people. I mean, I started this journey at 49. As you can see, I dye my hair a bit still blonde nowadays. So at the end of the day, why be a work-based distance learner? Well, excuse to it, you're able to do this. You're able to achieve a degree and go on. And as I've just proven in a recent job application, it does massively turbocharge your success and ability to take future roles. I would really advocate it to anybody.
Thank you for that, Paul. That's absolutely lovely to hear. And Fiona, what would you say? Why should people choose us?
I think combination, first of all, you'll be getting an accredited, highly regarded degree that maps to your workplace, which is unusual. You actually get to use, you get to learn academically and apply that. Over and beyond that, it's not just about your academic studies, which of course are really important, but we look at you as a whole person, as a member of our community. We have resources over and beyond what we offer on Blackboard. So alongside of our extensive experience in distance learning, we have so much at the university you can access. And as has been mentioned, you are a University of Lincoln student. Everything available for students is available to you. So you're getting a really, really good learning experience, but alongside of that, a full level of support. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. And Tim.
Well, there's nothing else to say, I don't think, but I think Fiona wrapped it up there nicely. But for me, having nearly 8 years at work doing this, we've got better and better and better. And the most important thing for myself is that we really look after our students. Okay, we have a fantastic amount of experience, and also we really enjoy our job. Okay, it's not a chore, it's something we look forward to doing, and I think that comes out in our relationships with our tutors, our students, whether it's in a gathering, which we might be doing after October, or if it's one-to-one. For instance, I was talking to somebody in Mumbai on Monday, one-to-one. We were online for, I don't know, an hour, and it was great fun. I got more from that than the student did, I think, but perhaps not. And just to clarify, the students would have a great time. They would have to work hard for it. It's not a given. But if you make that marriage between your tutors and yourselves, that is the most important thing, because I can guarantee every single tutor is raring to go with the new students. It's just that's the vibe we have at Beacon, and I'll leave it at that.
Wonderful, thank you, Tim, and just thank you to everybody. We've got hellos from Italy on there as well, so we've got that global reach. Thank you all for joining us, especially because I hear there is something else going on this evening. So thank you all, and hopefully we will see you in October, and also get those applications or questions or queries, anything coming in on the email. So thank you again, and good night.